Someone make it make sense.
Probably a couple.
Hello, squirrel friends. I have a lot of fun stuff in store for us today. So we are going to talk trash. We are going to go digging deep into the case law as it relates to trash, in the same way that one might say law enforcement goes digging through the trash itself. So that's what we're going to be doing. And we're going to take a look. I did a lot of research to prepare for this, and I found a lot of really interesting things. And the reason is because there's been so much talk about the trash in this case with Bryan Kohberger, because as we know, law enforcement did not have a warrant to search the trash. And that was the trash from which they were able to obtain his father's DNA. And then that started the whole thing, right? And there's been a lot of talk about, were the trash cans at the curb? Were they not at the curb? And, what counts as a warrantless search? Like, when is it allowed? When do you need a warrant? When do you not need a warrant? And then what were the specific facts as in this case, and circumstances in this case? So we're going to start here with some case law. This is from the Idaho Supreme Court from 2001. All right. So the background, they suspected this Mr. McCall of being involved in drug trafficking. He had a trailer that was one of the residences. Okay, so McCall's mother, Diana Newman, had 2 trash cans at her residence on Jefferson Street. One was a blue PSI can provided by the city, and the other was an old silver-colored trash can. The cans were typically located by the side of the driveway on the property. Newman testified that garbage collection occurred on Thursdays and that a friend who stayed with her typically set out the cans for collection. When the cans were not set out for collection, they were located approximately 12 to 14 feet from the street and approximately 30 feet from her home. This matters. She confirmed that the garbage cans were not next to her home, a garage, or an outbuilding. Further, she stated that at times she would set out old clothes so people could come by. So all of this matters. This right here actually even matters a lot. This part where she says she would set out old clothes by a garbage can in order for people passing by to have the opportunity to pick through the items. So here, most people, when they have garbage cans, they're probably close to their home. What's different about this case, right, is that when they were not set out for collection, they were about 12 to 14 feet from the street, but 30 feet from her home. So they're not on the street when they're not set out for collection, but they're quite far from her home. And all this is going to matter. So, when they're set out for collection, then they're about 25 feet from the house. So these detectives, they spotted a garbage can next to the fifth wheel trailer. Okay. Now, here's the important part. So they returned, check it out. They returned on Thursday because Thursday was garbage day, as we already saw. So they returned, they didn't do anything then, right? Because it was next to the trailer. They returned on Thursday at 5 a.m., noting that, oh, guess what? Now the trash cans are placed next to the roadway for regular trash collection. Both cans had been moved next to the street. They located the shit they needed to then go through with the drug charges and whatnot. Okay. So based on the information obtained from the trash pulls, they obtained a search warrant, just like in this case. The drug part doesn't matter. That the important part is this, right? They didn't have a warrant. They searched the trash. It was placed out for collection, and they obtained a search warrant based on what they found in the trash. The defense counsel filed a motion to suppress, asserting that the warrantless search of this garbage violated Article 1, Section 17 of the Idaho Constitution. The district court denied McCall's motion to suppress. Following the denial of his motion to suppress, McCall entered a plea of guilty, blah, blah, blah. Okay, standard of review. So in State v. Donato, this court set forth the standard of review applicable to an order granting or denying a motion to suppress evidence. The court noted, in reviewing an order granting or denying a motion to suppress evidence, very relevant here, right? This court will defer to the trial court's factual findings unless clearly erroneous. However, free review is exercised over a trial court's determination as to whether constitutional requirements have been satisfied in light of the facts found. So analysis A, the district court did not err in holding that a person has no reasonable expectation of privacy in garbage left outside the curtilage of his property for collection. So here again, these trash bins were placed out for collection. And there seems to be conflicting thoughts as to whether at the Kohberger residence were those bins placed out for collection. My understanding was that they were placed out for collection, right? And that made it fair game. However, the complication to that is that if you look at all those motions to suppress part 1 of that I covered, it's called I think it's labeled as like the Frank's motion and motions to suppress part 1. We did some digging and discovered that his particular address is a private road. So I did from everything that I've learned, that to me would mean that even if they're placed out for collection, if it's a private road, and if that was accurate, what we saw, it was on like a real estate website. If that's accurate, then that could be problematic for the state. Okay. So there's a number of things here, right? Was it at the curb? Was it not at the curb? Is the road private? Is the road not private? But we're going to dig into all this. And what really matters here is the curtilage. We're going to dive into curtilage as well. Shout out to Frank Hughes. What is IANAL? Right, exactly. So private property. So let's just make a clarification here. So private property, right, would be the residence, right? So if it's near the home, if it's within the curtilage of the home, that's why we're going to talk about the curtilage, because that matters. It's within the curtilage of the home, and then it's private property, definitely not public. But even furthermore to say, if that house is on a private road, which is what we saw when we researched this and did some digging on the real estate website, it says that address is a private road. Then even when it's set out onto the curb for collection, if the road is private, see how that adds another layer there? Then definitely not public, right? That's a good question. We did see in one of the court filings that they have what was it? A garbage, because they're like in an HOA, they have a certain garbage thing. I don't remember what that was. Let me see if I can find out what document that was, and we can pull that up. Wow, since I last refreshed to this literally 5 minutes ago, there's already another court filing. That was from, let me think. Okay, I remember which one it was. It was the one, hold on, let me find it. Oh, wait, no, that's another court filing in a different case. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Let's pull this up and make sure. So they said they added a thing there with the garbage. I don't remember the exact terminology, which is why I'm going to pull up the filing. Just give me a second to find it, because this really matters. And it's really kind of, there's some unique situations here. Like, for example, the potential of the private road, which is what I saw. Okay, let me pull this up. Okay. This is about the interrogation. Let me find it. Phone records. I'm pretty sure it's in this document. Where? Okay, hang on, guys. Let me do a search for trash. And I will also do one for garbage in case trash doesn't pull up, because they could. Okay, let's try garbage. Maybe it wasn't. I thought it was this one. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, I guess it's not this document. Let me look again. Hold on. I wonder if it's in this one. Let me just share this to you guys. Okay. Okay, let's try again here. Gosh darn it. Does anyone else remember the languaging about that where they talk about the HOA and the oh, gotcha. Thank you. So Frank says, I live on a private road and we have to cart the bins way out. Right. But see, I still think that if it's a private road, then I don't think it's fair game. Oh gosh, I need to just keep leaving that up so that it doesn't unshare. Let me try the arrest warrant. Okay. Okay, let me try this one and see. Oh no, not garage. Garbage. This actually says, this is important. Check this out though, guys. Okay, check it out. Okay, here we go. Without IgG, there's no case, right? No DNA taken from the garbage out front. So garbage out front. Does that mean out front from the house or out front? That sounds like garbage out front by the curb, which was what my understanding was, right? But they are suggesting that it was unlawful, even though it was out front. And that would make sense given what I found about the fact that this is a private road. This still doesn't have what I was looking for about the HOA and all that. So I might go looking for that again later. But this is garbage out front. Okay. So it gets more complicated, though. So let me go back to where was it? Okay, so back to this case law, right? So the curtilage, right? So, and that's the thing. The digging that I did, I could not find any case law or any specific statutes that discuss specifically if it's a private road, but it would just make sense given all of the languaging, it's private, right? So I think that's probably why there was not even any need to really potentially, litigate that. So let's just see if there's anything else in here. So in this case, again, the trash cans were left out by the curb. Okay, so now curtilage. We're going to talk about curtilage. All right, curtilage. So curtilage includes the area immediately surrounding a dwelling, and it counts as part of the home for many legal purposes, including searches, right? So when considering something is in a dwelling's curtilage, the courts consider 4 factors. 1, the proximity of the thing to the dwelling. 2, whether the thing is within an enclosure surrounding the home. 3, what the thing is used for. And 4, what steps, if any, the resident took to protect the thing from observation or access by people passing by. Again, a private road would accomplish those things, and that's what it looked like, a private road. It's interesting, though, that in these court filings so far, now, again, a lot of this is under seal, but from what's not under seal, his attorneys have not mentioned the private road, which is why it's weird, because it's like, that seems like the argument you'd be making from the jump. So, okay, so next, in further discussion of curtilage, we're going to take a look at this case law. And this is from Kansas, but it still talks more about the curtilage. An important factor in determining whether the person discarding trash has an objectively reasonable, that's what it comes down to, right? If there's an objectively reasonable expectation of privacy and you're on a private road and that trash is out, but it's on the road, to me, I don't see how there's any gray area here. Like, it's private. You need a warrant. And that's what they found here, actually. And this was the closest thing I could find in regards to a private road, actually. So I take it back. I did find this. This was the closest thing I could find. Check it out. So this person's dumpster is not visible from any public road, and a visitor must travel a quarter mile on his driveway, a private dirt road. Now, dirt road, I don't think that it's a private road. It's a private road, and you have to travel on the private road before reaching the dumpster. So this was like the closest thing I could find in terms of referencing the private road. So one thing that was interesting that we discovered when I was digging into this on that part one was that where he lives, or his parents live, some of those roads in that neighborhood are private and others are public. And that matters because we're going to see in just a second why it matters. Right? I know. I feel you on that. So we're going to take a look at what was it? Okay, we're going to take a look at. Okay, so when we had discussed, let me pull this up. When we had discussed before, I'm going to have to unshare and reshare. Again, on part one, we had discussed this whole thing that like we thought, okay, we've solved it. And then I had a thought and I was like, wait, hold on. Wasn't there talk about him throwing trash in the neighbor's garbage, right? You guys remember that? This is really important. And I was like, wait, hold on. Wasn't it that he threw trash in the neighbor's yard? And then I was like, well, wait, so the DNA that they were able to get from the dad, was that the trash that was put in the neighbor's trash can, or was that trash from their trash can? Because that matters, because in this neighborhood, the neighbor's trash can may not be a private road because it varied. Where they live, each house is really set far back from the road. So their private road is like essentially their driveway, right? And so it varies by the house. So like we looked it up, and like on the house next to them and on the other side, one could be private, one might have been public, and we don't know which neighbor it was. So the roads vary. And so I actually made a joke about it, thinking like maybe he thought he was sneaky putting it in the neighbor's trash, but he might not have thought about the fact that what if their road is private, right? Which looks like it is. And what if he put it in a neighbor's garbage and that was a public road? Then he just fucked himself, right? Because now he just made it to where they don't need a warrant. So, okay. So I did a lot of searching to see what was the reporting about which trash cans and where, and what was the situation. Okay. So the document, so this is referencing the probable cause affidavit, and we're going to take a look at that in a second. So the documents state that police in Pennsylvania searched through the trash cans outside of Kohberger's parents' home, where they say they obtained DNA evidence to link him. So again, that says outside, right? And again, in the court filing we looked at just a second ago, the defense attorney, I guess it was Jay Logston who wrote it, but said that was the trash out in front of the home. So that would seem to mean like these trash cans were pulled away from the home. It sounds like out to the curb. And that was what was my understanding. Okay. So the Supreme Court has ruled in a case called California v. Greenwood. That's the landmark case when it comes to this, that a warrant is not required to search through somebody's trash, assuming that trash has been put out for pickup. Right. And that's what I always understood. In general, the Fourth Amendment protects people from unreasonable search and seizure by the government, but the Supreme Court determined that trash left out for pickup outside your home isn't protected. So again, it sounds like it was left out for pickup, but that's where the private road would come in, but it gets more complicated. Okay. So next one. So remember this bit about the neighbor. So he was sneaking out, putting trash in his neighbor's garbage bins, right? Agents who had eyes on the suspect later seized the trash bags from the neighbor's bins, as well as trash from the bins of Mr. Kohberger's family home. Okay, so this one's kind of in the middle. This is saying they seized trash from the neighbor's bins and the Kohberger family's bins. Now, this one said only mentioned the trash in the parents' home. That's where the DNA came. Okay, this one's saying that is referencing both bins, right? The neighbor's and the Kohberger bin. But what they're saying here is that the DNA came from the trash that was in the parents' bin. Okay, but it gets worse. This. Right? So at one point, blah, blah, he was observed putting trash from his family's home into the neighbor's garage bins, blah, blah, blah. News that Kohberger tried to obscure the rubbish comes from the probable cause affidavit. We're going to look at that in just a second. And what's interesting is these are all referencing the PCA as if the PCA specifically says where this trash was from and which garbage can and all that. That's why we're going to take a look at it. So this is saying it came from the PCA, right? Claimed that he had been identified through DNA of his father retrieved from the family's garbage on, this is crucial, on December 27th, despite it being placed in neighbors' trash cans. So what this one is saying is that the DNA that they got came from the family's garbage, but from the neighbor's bin. So these are all conflicting reports, but they're all saying they got their information from the PCA. But this is completely different. And this changes everything, right? If it was placed in the neighbor's trash cans. And I'm wondering, because again, like I said, the neighbor's roads might be public. I mean, in fact, we know that some of them are. It's just we don't know which neighbor, right? And so Franks is saying, in a way that makes it worse taking the neighbor's trash. I mean, right. I agree. But having said that, though, if the neighbor's road was public, you know, in that case, it would really be the only people who would have any standing to like, to, you know, allege there was a constitutional violation. It would be the neighbors, because it was literally like, it was their trash can, right? Even though it was the Kohberger's garbage, it was their trash can. But again, if it was a public road. So, okay, now here's where it gets even crazier. So now we're going to take a look at the PCA, because all of these three different accounts from news sources reference getting their information from the PCA. And again, this states right here that it's in the PCA, right? That the DNA of the father came from the family's garbage, but the garbage that was placed in the neighbor's trash can. Okay, now back to the PCA, or to the PCA. If I can find it. Here it is. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to unshare and reshare. All right. So all this information, right? They supposedly got from the PCA. What does the PCA say? Here's all it says. It's very limited about the trash, guys. This is all it says. This is literally all it says. On December 27th, 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohberger residence located in Albertsville, Pennsylvania. That's it. The evidence was sent to the state Idaho lab law. It does not say where that trash can was. I mean, really, if you look at this, like literally, it says from the Kohberger family residence, as if it was not out on the curb. Like, that's what this sounds like, if anything. Like, what, if anything, does this sound like? This sounds like it was not pulled out to the curb. And then, of course, all the rest. That's all it is. All it says. So what's so crazy is, where did they get the rest of those details from? It's one of those things where it's like people just rumor, right? Like, that's all this says. So going back to where was it? Here. Remember, so this is from the defense, and they said taken from the garbage out front. That's why I was questioning. So out front, why is no one being more specific? Is this out front of the house, or is it out front on the curb? But my understanding at the time was that it was at the curb. But again, where did that come from? Because it's not in the affidavit. Like, I'm sure that any of us that heard that, it was from all the people reporting it that are referencing the PCA, but it's not in the PCA. So what a mess, right? What a freaking mess. Why is there not any more details about this? I find it just absolutely crazy. I still want to find, though, that one document that references specifically the HOA and whatnot. I wonder if it's in this one. Let's see. Ah, I found it. I found it. Ironically, this is in the motion to suppress the evidence collected from his apartment. That's why this was one of the last ones I tried, because that makes literally no sense. This is speaking of his apartment in Washington, right? Why is it here? Okay, so this is the only time they elaborate. Check it out, guys. This is important. Without IGG, there's no case, no request for his phone records. This is all the same as the others. Surveillance of his parents' home, no DNA taken from his driveway. Now this is different, though. This is where it's different. DNA taken from his driveway. Now, again, from what I could see, the driveway was a private road, but they're not saying that. In a gated community, and I did some research on that, just because it's a gated community doesn't mean that all the roads are private. We dug into this. And so in this case, again, it's a gated community, but some of the roads are private, some are public, from what I could find. And this is the one I was looking for, subject to a refuse removal ordinance. That's what I was looking for. What the heck is a refuse removal ordinance? Let me see what I can find. That could be important. I'm not finding anything. Solid waste. What is it? I just want to know what it is generally first, and then dumpsters. I don't know that that's, so it looks like a refuse removal ordinance is just like, it seems like it's just saying you can't do like illegal dumping and you can't put like hazardous materials out. So I don't really know how that would help him in this case, unless there's something specific. Now this doesn't say an HOA. It doesn't say HOA, which housing, I don't even remember what that stands for, but I know there were people who had been in the chat before who had said there was he was in an HOA. They didn't say HOA. They said a gated community, but that's different, right? Like, let me just double check. HOA versus a gated community. Right. HOA is homeowners association. Right. Okay. So they're different. A gated community just means there's a barrier, like a gate that restricts people getting in. But, and so you can't, so in other words, okay, in other words, HOAs, you can have something that's an HOA and a gated community, but not all HOAs are also gated communities, and not all gated communities are also HOAs, if that makes sense. So like you have a homeowners association, right? And that does shit to people, right? Collects fees to maintain common areas. But a gated community is a neighborhood with restricted access, with a physical barrier, like a gate, often managed by an HOA. But none of this to me is nearly as important as if his driveway was private or that road was private. That to me is crucial. Oh, thank you. Okay, there is an HOA. Okay, interesting. Fees 74. Oh, that's not too bad. Are you seeing what I saw about the road being private? Because I checked a couple of different real estate websites, and one of them didn't say anything about it. But the one that I pulled up, one of them, it said specifically it was a private road. And then I was able to find it through a map through that real estate website, and it did say private. So, okay. So in other words, this trash thing is very confusing, because even his defense team has kind of contradicted itself, because there was many of the filings where they said the garbage out front, but then there was the other filing where they said the garbage from the residence, which would make it seem like it's not out front, right? Like it's at the house still. I mean, if we could figure out what day of the week, anyone that wants to work on this, if we could figure out what day of the week it was that they collected that trash, which actually I think it's in the PCA. See, now this one says DNA taken from his driveway. So they're all conflicting. Taken from his driveway. I mean, that makes it sound like it's towards, out for pickup, right? Let me find the probable cause affidavit though, because that's going to have the date. Let me pull it back up. And if we can figure out what day of the week that was and what day of the week the trash collection is there, then okay, hold on. Then we could probably figure out if the trash was out or not. It wouldn't be a verified, it would just be common sense, right? Like, was the trash out or not? if it was the right day of the week, which we saw in that case law I pulled up at the beginning of the stream. We saw that that's what they did. They came back, that they were watching and it wasn't trash day. And then they came back at trash day when they knew the bins were going to be out. So, you know, all right. So on December 27th, 2022, there it is. What day of the week is that? Because on, like, the thing is this really matters. Like, if this was a private road, if they violated in any way getting that trash letter warrant due to any of these circumstances we've already been discussing, then everything is fruit of the poisonous tree. What did I say it was? December 27th. Right? December. So that would be a Tuesday. That would be a Tuesday. So if we can figure out what day is trash day where his parents live, then we could get one step closer and maybe figuring out, because they're all conflicting here. Man, it's wild. Oh, thank you. Need some Z's. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. I was just talking about you. I kept saying, I wish we'd need some Z's was here, because I was like, I knew you would remember the certain document. The one, this one. I found it without your help, but this one. So again, what's interesting here, I'll just point it out again. While this does not specify HOA, it doesn't specify on a private road. These are things that we have found on our own researching, right? What they mention is from his driveway, although again, it says other things in other documents, in a gated community subject to a refuse removal ordinance. And yeah, so, okay, so we're going to take a break from the trash, and we're going to, like, again, the vast majority of those motions to suppress just say the garbage out front. But then there was another one that said garbage from his residence. So, so let me find the new court filings. Okay, there they are. So I'm going to leave up these other tabs in case we need to refer back to them. Okay, so first of all, this is a big one, guys. This could be problematic. Do y'all remember in with the Alec Baldwin case, when Carrie Morrissey was trying to appeal the court's decision to, to move for mistrial, and all that. And Carrie Morrissey was like trying to fight back about that. This was recently, and she submitted some like really long motion, and it was like 50 some pages or whatever. And do you remember when his defense team came back and was like, yeah, there's a page limit. It's like 15 page limit. And she went way over the limit. And because of that, it was like thrown out. Okay. Check this out. This just came in, I think, this morning. Motion to strike defendant's memorandum in support of motion to suppress the genetic information. Now this memorandum is one of the ones that was filed under seal. That's why the actual motion was only 3 pages, because everything to support it was filed under seal because it's dealing with the IGG, right? But there's also the other memorandum that was filed under seal, right? Was the one for the Franks hearing. So here's what they're saying. Comes now, State of Idaho. They want motion to strike both of those. Now, those are crucial, right? Of all the things that they filed, potentially the memorandum in support of Frank's hearing and the memorandum to suppress the IGG, right? And again, they're under seal. Those are crucial for the defense. But they're saying they're making a motion to strike them all together because they violate. Let me see if I can have it. Because they violate the local rules of the 4th Judicial District. Memoranda in support of non-dispositive motions, quote, must not exceed 15 pages. When I pulled this up this morning and I read this, I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. Defendant violated this rule when he filed a 37-page memorandum to support his motion to suppress IGG and a 33-page memorandum in support of his motion for a Franks hearing without seeking leave of this court. So, right, you have to ask permission if you're going to go over the page limit. And here it says, right, page limitations in excess of those set forth requires prior leave of court. A memorandum in support is not being filed with this motion as the state believes page limitations qualify as a routine matter. The state requests that the court decide this issue without a hearing. Oh my God. Now, they might be able to refile it. Oh my God, though, just incredible, right? I mean, there's no way. Like, if you go past that page limit, there's no arguing that. The best they could do is maybe Judge Stickler will let them resubmit it within the page limit. But from what we've seen of Judge Stickler, I don't even know. Franks, it's not going to let you share a link. It's not going to let you share a link in the chat because it just auto blocks links, you know, YouTube. But you can put it in the Discord, and maybe you did. What district is Ada? What do you mean? Are you talking about throwing out? When did you say that? Are you talking about throwing out the Judge Stickler is a judge in Ada County, right? So I'm not quite sure what you're asking about that. So the fourth. I might have missed something. What is the significance of the district that you're wondering about here? Is that in relation to the trash, or is that in relation to something else? Okay, so the next thing that came up that's brand new is this one. So remember how the state was asking for more help? So this is the order. And this is what I expected, right? But basically now we know the above matter having come before the court upon petition of Latah County prosecuting attorney in good cause appearing, it is hereby ordered that Deputy Attorney General Jeff Nye and any other Deputy Attorney General selected by Attorney General's office may be appointed as special assistant attorneys general to assist. So they needed more hands on deck. Like, they needed more hands on deck. And I remember there was somebody who had left a comment on, I think it was the previous live stream about BK, that was thinking that maybe they were asking for help just specifically to deal with like the death penalty motion. So if you're watching, or for anyone, it's for the entire trial. Like, they're going to take witnesses, right? They're going to do the things that counsel does. Like, they want more, it's funny because the defense team is only 3 attorneys. It's only 3 attorneys. They already have more attorneys or more counsel working for the prosecution here with the extra counsel they've already brought on. I think they've got 5, maybe 6, but there's only 3 for the defense. And they're like, we need more help. So that's the other one. Let me see if there was anything else noteworthy of being new. Let's see here. Can we scroll though? Can we scroll? Okay. By the way, Lori Val has been granted like her 50 millionth extension to file her appeal in Idaho. So the rest of these are just orders to seal exhibits and stuff. You know, there's nothing interesting there. It's just order to seal, and it's expected, right? You know, for example, right? So what's interesting about this is kind of interesting, right? So we know that the state just made that motion to strike, right? They're for page limit violation, right? So, and it was two things. It was the memorandum in support of a Franks hearing and memorandum in support of the suppressing the IGG. So what's interesting here is that the court, before responding to the motion to strike, right, is still catching up by responding to things in chronological order. So this is an order to have the memorandums sealed, right, which was already asked for prior to the state making a motion to strike. So nothing has come out though after this yet. So we don't know. Like, so in other words, Judge Stickler could still, yeah, we're going to seal it, right? We're going to, you know, all that, but he could still strike it after that, right? Based on the page limitation violation. It'll be really interesting to see what happens. Fuck. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Needs and Sees is saying, I thought Santa might have got the district wrong because they are from Leta, but Leta is second. Okay, gotcha. Right. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting that at this point in time they're asking for more help, right? It is interesting. And I just wish that there has to be more specific information about these freaking trash cans. And I guess it's under seal. And I've watched every hearing, since this whole thing started, I've read every document and watched every hearing, even before I was covering it. And I don't remember like the media had talked about it again, as I covered at the beginning of the stream. Clearly they don't know what's going on because they're referencing this came from the PCA. And then it's like, oh, it didn't come from the PCA. In terms of like the court documents and what's been talked about in the hearing, there's not been any specific discussion in public, in public record about any particulars regarding this trash can. But I feel like it's so important that maybe it's come up, but it's just in one of these documents, it's under seal, because it's so crucial, right? So let me see, Franks, did you put the link in the Discord? Let me see. The county, it's in a unincorporated county. I looked that up one of the streams. It's an unincorporated territory or whatever. Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. You can Google that and see exactly what it says, but that's what I remember seeing. I'm not seeing a link from Franks. I hope you're still here, Franks. So she had some interesting link, and now we don't know what it is because it blocks it on. Oh, good. Is this in the Law Squirrel Discord? Did you put it? Oh, wait, hold on. Did you put it? Where am I looking here? Is this in the STS Discord? So again, if you put any links in the chat, YouTube auto blocks it. So I'm not seeing any links. I can't see any links, but so you'd have to use the Discord. Oh, Black Widow, I guess, rejoined the Discord. I wonder why she was not in it. I didn't realize. Anyway, shout out to Black Widow. So, and I'm going to pull it up again just because it's so mind-boggling, right? This whole thing. Let's go back through this one more time because it's just crazy. Let me share this differently here. Hold on. That is interesting. I don't know why it doesn't look blocked to you. That's weird. Maybe it's a StreamYard versus YouTube thing, but I thought it was supposed to automatically block it. Maybe it's like you just don't, like, it doesn't tell you it's blocked, but like it doesn't, like, is anyone else able to see the links in the chat for y'all that are watching on YouTube? Because sometimes there's just discrepancies, right, between StreamYard and YouTube. But my understanding is like it blocks. Oh, interesting. Yeah, if you can just put it in the Discord, that would be the best way to do it. But yeah, so for anyone who didn't see this, so this is what's so wild is like, this is from the media reports at the time, right? And they all reference the affidavit and they all say different things, right? Again, trash cans outside of the Kohberger's home, right? We all know if it's outside of the home and it's on public property, it's fair game. We know that. And then this one says, this one references the trash being put in the neighbor's bins, but that the DNA came from the trash at the parents' home. But this one is the one that's most interesting right here. Because this one says that from the probable cause affidavit, they're referencing from that, right? That the DNA of Kohberger's dad was retrieved from the family's garbage on December 27th, despite being placed in the neighbor's trash cans. So this is the issue I've been commenting on, because it's like, wait, this is the DNA that came from the neighbor's trash can, from their trash in the neighbor's trash can, because that's completely different. But again, from what we see from the defense in the documents, it looks like they're saying it was not from the neighbor. But the weirdest thing of all is that all these people are referencing the PCA, and everything that they're saying is not in the PCA. So it's like they didn't read it. he just has made an assumption. So, good job, I guess. Not good job. So yeah, if you can put it in the Discord. Oh, did you do it? Let's see. Oh, I got it. All right, cool. Let me see if I can pull this up and share this to you guys. Give me just a second. Thanks, Franks. Okay, hang on just a second. Okay, I'm trying to make sure this opens up properly. Let me do this in Chrome. Okay, hang on. All right. Okay, so let me stop sharing this window so I can pull this up for you guys. All right. It doesn't answer our questions, but it is interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah. So one of the things we're still looking for anyone who wants to help is what trash day is it for that community? I wonder if Needs and Z's is looking into that because we know that it was a Tuesday that they collected it, right? Because we could get some clarification using common sense if it's like, oh, their trash day is Tuesday. Okay, right? Okay. We just moved into Indian Mountain Lake and I love it. So this is where the house is. Garbage and recycling service. Well, you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like a privately provided garbage service, right? And maybe that's what they meant when they said, what was the term that they used? It was, let me find it. Refuse removal ordinance. Maybe that's what they meant by that in that one document. Garbage and recycling service. Like that sounds like it's private, right? Because you expect that if you're within city limits, like obviously. Interesting. I mean, that adds another layer of complexity to this, right? And again, anyone that wants to help, please feel free. I did so much searching. I was trying to find like if you're in a private road, and the closest thing I could find we covered at the beginning of the stream was like someone's private road. But in terms of like if it's an HOA, if it's a private, this would be the biggest thing too, right? Like if it's a private garbage service because of the fact that it's it's an HOA, whatever. But what matters is like if it's a private garbage service. And that would probably be because they're private roads, right? Like that makes sense because the regular like city garbage people, right? Whatever for here, it's like the town of Greensboro, right? They're only going to be able to pick up trash if you're on a public road and you're in the city limits, right? So it would make sense, right? Because if you're on private property, right, with our private road, right, you would need, I mean, this makes sense logically, you would need somebody else to come get your trash because I don't think legally, oh my God, right? I don't think legally the city can do it. Interesting to think about that, right? Because why do we think that is? Holy shit. Wow, 2 swimming pools. This does sound nice though, doesn't it? Wow. Community clubhouse. They have community events for all ages. Does sound lovely. Now the gates, I looked for the gates on the map. I could not find the gates, but I looked for the gates. I wanted to see the gates and I couldn't see the gates. This person says they love the gates, but other people don't like the gates. It's weird though I couldn't find the gates, although it wouldn't let me do street view, but I couldn't find them from looking at it on the map. This one says this is not a private gated community, okay? Who leaves fires on it? Interesting. Who leaves fires unattended, leave their trash out on random days? What? I don't know how credible this person seems. What do you guys think? This person says we are harassed and felt as if we are criminals. Yeah, I don't know that this person's very credible. Always heard that people who run the community were kind of jerks. People running the security gates take their jobs way too seriously, for example. Oh my God, this is really funny. Now this person's complaining about the HOA. Okay, that's about all there is there. So we want to know, again, what date is trash? And then also, what's the deal if you have a private garbage? I mean, again, I feel like it's not even worth looking into because I think it's clear. If it's a private road, right, and they have a private service to collect their garbage, it's not public property. It that standard, right? The reasonable expectation of privacy. That's the standard set forth by the Supreme Court and all the state courts. And that's the whole thing, right? I can even pull that back up, what the expectations were. I think it was by looking up. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on, let me pull that back up for you guys. It would have actually been, let me just look. Let me see here. Let's try this one. Let's see if this one's on point. I'm just looking at this case law here before I pull it up to you guys. Oh, this has to do with eavesdropping on telephone calls. That's not on point. Hold on, let me find something else here. Where's the Greenwood? Let me pull that back up. Okay, so this is considered to be the landmark case when it comes to the Fourth Amendment and search and seizure. So let's see here. Is this the right one? Because there could be more than one Greenwood now that I think about it. This might be the wrong Greenwood. Oh my God. Yeah, I think because it was a different year. Hold on. Let me look again real quick. It was like 1988, I believe. Oh, here it is. Okay. Here it is. Okay. So wrong Greenwood. All right. All right. Regular trash collector garbage bags left on the curb in front of his house, but left on the curb, right? Warrantless. I mean, right here. This is from y'all. Warrantless trash search violates the Fourth Amendment, obviously, right? Warrantless trash search, unless it's been put out for trash, right? All right, here we go. The Fourth Amendment does not prohibit the warrantless search and seizure of garbage left for collection outside the curtilage of a home. That's why we went over curtilage earlier, because curtilage matters. And so it's because if you leave your trash for collection in an area that is particularly suited for public inspection, you lose that expectation of privacy, right? So it's common knowledge that garbage left on a public street are readily accessible to animals, children, scavengers, snoops, and members of the public. Let's see if they do give any more specific. This is the same. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else more specific. But I mean, that again, that's pretty cut and dry, right? Again, this is the standard, but then it gets more complicated. And that, like, as we see in Kohberger's case, this one's way more complicated. This is cut and dry. You put your trash out on the curb, done, right? But when we're dealing with the HOA and potentially a private road with a private garbage service and, all this, it's, and then add to that, if it was trash that he put in the neighbor's bin, I mean, my God, it makes me wonder if there's not really anything exactly on point. And honestly, from the research I've done, I can't find anything that's on point to those specific situations. So in that case, it would be like a first impression type of deal if there's nothing on point. Oh, interesting, Franks. Okay, township is Chestnut Hill. I thought from what I looked into, it was like an unincorporated territory or something. So I don't know. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Franks. Good job. Franks found this. So a Facebook post in the Facebook community asking if trash was coming tomorrow, posted on 10/14, which was a Monday. Well done, Franks. So that would indicate the Tuesday thing. Thank you. So again, so at least, the way that we would know for sure that there's no way around it, whether it's a private road or not, is like if that trash was at the house in the curtilage, it's no go, right? So it seems reasonable from everything that we've seen that like it was not within the curtilage, right? It's not within the curtilage. Then again, the other complications become the private neighborhood, the private road, the private street, the private garbage, all that shit, right? Because again, if that's the standard, is that reasonable expectation of privacy, you have that. Like, how many times did I just say the word private, right? Like that's the whole point, that you would not, and it's a gated community. So I could see with the gated community, I can see where that would actually come in because of the fact that you wouldn't expect public to be coming and snooping around your trash, given all of those things. So it's just crazy, right? So that's about it though for this live stream, guys. But I think we've delved a lot into the garbage situation. We will continue to stay on top of this. And if we can find out anything else, I think that we can say, using common sense, more than likely that garbage was out, not in the curtilage, but I think it still remains to be seen, like how private were all those private things? Because in my view, any one of those situations seems like it would meet that standard of a reasonable expectation of privacy, and they would have needed a warrant. I don't know how they would get around it, to be honest with you, without a warrant. I really don't. And that's such a big deal though, because literally there is no case. There is nothing. It would go poof, goodbye, And this is why, y'all, it matters, right? Because here's the thing, regardless of what you think about BK and whatever, we're not even like, this isn't even about him, right? This is so much more like, this is just constitutional, like, rights that is, and the thing is that what, if indeed he is the person who committed these crimes, there's a reason why this shit matters, because what you don't want is someone who committed the crimes to be just let off the hook because law enforcement messed up and didn't get a search warrant, right? And they screwed the whole case. That's why they are supposed to do their job correctly and get search warrants for that very reason, right? Because they know what can happen if they, just like when people have their fifth, Miranda violation, shit like that, right? Or a Brady violation. Law enforcement knows, and this, but of all of those, the one that's the worst is a constitutional violation of the Fourth Amendment. Like, it doesn't get worse than that, right? So, this is why it matters, because it makes it, keeping law enforcement in check, it will encourage them, right, to do their job properly, so that you don't end up with somebody who is, who actually committed a crime not being able to be prosecuted, right? Because we want justice to happen. We want justice to happen. And when you violate people's constitutional rights, guess what? No justice for anybody is what is the result. And that, that's just what it is. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for this stream, but thanks so much for joining. Appreciate all of y'all in the chat who were helping with our detectiving, as it were. Well, okay. Yeah, I guess it was somebody who looks like they live there that said it was private. They said there's a private garbage service, but that's interesting what you found there, because maybe they were just grouping them together, not thinking it matters, not thinking it would ever be used for something like this, right? But that's interesting that Needs and Sees is on the township website and is only finding recycling and not finding private. I think the private garbage, though, is because of the particular like gated community. That's what it sounded like to me. Here, we can pull this back up real quick here. Indian Mountain Lake, like that specific. Because the township is, there's a lot of term out. There's a county, there's a community. What is the name of the township? Because are people using like township and community interchangeably? Because in other words, this looks like it applies to Indian Mountain Lake, whatever that is, whether it's a township or community or neighborhood. That's what they're referencing here. So okay, the township is Chestnut Hill. So that might not be specific enough. I'm wondering, right? It's within, I don't know. That would be interesting to find out, wouldn't it? Right? Whoever the HOA hires out there. It sounds like it's kind of remote from other places. So I wouldn't surprise me if there's not a whole lot of different options for private garbage collection in the area. It might be something that's findable. And maybe there's only one, right? Maybe. Awesome. She's on the Chestnut Hill Township site. Cool. Let me do a search. Hold on. Township, PA, private trash collection. Let me just see what I can find. Waste management. This is in Chester, and Chester was, I don't know. This was the first thing that came up on Google. I don't know if this is in the right area. It might be better to work broader and then narrow it down. Yeah, I searched for Chestnut Hill. Let me try okay. Check this out. Services provided under contract with this municipality are detailed below. Curbside trash collection. Interesting. Where does it say the places it serves? Residential services. Were the bins red? If we can find out the color of the bins, if the bins were red, it was this place. Because how often do you see that? That's very unique. Interesting. Interesting. Do they collect trash on a Tuesday? We could also narrow it down that way. Oh, okay. Okay. Hold on. Oh, no. Nope. What county were we in again? There's so many layers to this place. I can't remember. Monroe County. Dang it. Not this guy, I don't think. All right, let's see. We pick up trash on Monday. Okay, hold on. This says, ooh, a bulk trash removal. Dang it. That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. Not junk removal, not bulky. We need, let's see. Oh my God, I don't care. Talk to a live agent now. Should I call them? No, I'm not going to call them. It's funny whenever I've done that on different streams for different things. Where do you service? What areas do you service? Okay, well, it looks like the only answer here is going to be to talk to somebody. Oh my God. Hey, what's the zip code? Somebody quick. What's the zip code where BK's parents live? This is some high level squirreling right now. If anyone can give me that zip code for Indian Mountain Lakes, where the house was. I know need some ZZ. I know you had it handy recently. Thank you, Franks. Thank you. This is so fun. Let's see what happens. Oh, dang it. Denied. Oh, all right. Not them. Well, that's too bad. Interesting. Yeah, junk, like that's not Mountain Lakes. I don't think that's the right thing. Need some Z's. Have you joined the Discord yet? Because if you haven't, you should, because anyone that wants to work on like posting links and stuff for stuff, like if you find anything, I know that both of you guys are really hardcore into and really awesome at sleuthing and finding information out. So that's a great place to be able to post things. So live calls. So like, for example, in Murdoch, when I was covering all that, I actually called the Sunrise rehab place where he went in Florida. I actually called and I wasn't like, one thing led to another. Okay. And it was like, reach out now. Like I was on the website because I was trying to figure out like what their requirements are, like, and because what I was wondering is like, do they verify that you're on drugs to let you in? And I knew common sense was like, the answer is going to be no. They're just going to make sure that you don't bring drugs with you. But anyway, the only way to find that out was to call them. So I had to call them, and I was on the air. It was on live stream. And I called them. I'm like, hi. And I'm like, hey, I had to pretend like I was like, I have a drug. And they're like, what is your drug? And I'm like, it's painkillers. And I was trying so hard not to laugh, man. I'm so bad. Like, oh my God, it was wild. And so this dude was like trying to get me to come to rehab. And I'm like, I don't know. Oh my God. But, and we gleaned some good information from that. But what I learned is like, yeah, they don't drug test you they don't verify that you are a drug addict. They assume that if you are coming there, like Alex Murdoch, the one person on the planet, right, who would go to rehab without potentially actually being a drug addict, because they're not going to assume that would ever happen. They just want to make sure you don't bring drugs on the premises, right? And check, anyway. So that's just one example. And then there's been some other examples, like during the Ezra McCandless trial, I called Racey's, the coffee shop. I think there's been some other funny ones, but the most memorable one was definitely calling Sunrise Detox. Anyone that saw that was like, we'll never forget that. That was really funny. Discord's awesome. You should give it a chance. Let me see if Nightbot can put the link in. It takes there's a little bit of a learning curve because it's not like other platforms, but once you figure it out, it's awesome. You can do everything. Like I'm not tech savvy at all. I don't use social media. And if I can learn it, in fact, I did learn it, then literally anybody can, seriously. So but you can do so much, and it's all free, right? And it's all, you can use your real name, or you can use you can use any name you want, right? Use anonymous as much as you want, but you can do direct messages, you can post videos, links, you can do video calls, you can do all kinds of stuff. It's like literally does what all the other things do, but it does it in one place. Like you combine like FaceTime and Skype and Zoom and instant messengers and, whatever, right? It's like that, but all the time for free. So, it's awesome. And the other thing with Discord is it's linked to my YouTube channel. So, sometimes notifications don't go through from YouTube, as everybody knows, but the Discord notifications always come through. So like when I'm going live or whatever, or there's a video, it'll post it there. There's a specific thread for that or channel, like upcoming squirrel video. And like, those notifications will come through. But it also allows for like continuing discussion when the live streams are over or whatever. Are you saying it's all text like the link, like you can't click on it, or? The link should work, hopefully. But for anyone who wants to join the Discord and the link isn't working, if you just search Discord for Law Squirrel, apparently there's another Law Squirrel. I don't know who they are, but it's the one that has the infamous little squanguin, as you can see in the right-hand corner, top right-hand corner of the screen. It's that, it's the squanguin, that it's that one. Okay, gotcha. Well, if you're ever feeling saucy one day and you want to give it a whirl, we would love to have you join the Discord. And it's just a really great way to continue to share information or conversation and whatnot. Yeah, but y'all that feel like so inclined to keep looking and see if you can find out more about the specific trash place, would love to have y'all's help on this. Yeah. So as always, I'll keep my eye out for anything else. It could be that something will come out over the weekend, because sometimes, if they file something on Friday, it might not get posted to the docket until the next day or two. That's what usually there's like a day or two delay. So there could still be things coming out over the weekend. So I refresh this thing multiple times a day. So we'll see it. If anything else does come out. And I do believe the next Casey Anthony stream is going to be tomorrow, and it's going to really interesting. The multiple medical examiners, guys, they have like, I don't even know how many yet. I haven't gotten through them all. Like there's like two actual forensic, this is from the state, right? 2 forensic pathologists. So the people that do the same job, but then they've got like at least 2 forensic anthropologists and at least 1, if not more, forensic entomologists, and then the list goes on. Like I've never seen anything like that in a trial. It's very bizarre. And there's a lot of surprising information. Oh my God. I don't want to spoil it, but I was editing the video today. And I was like, holy shit, man. Like, wow. There's some really crazy stuff that we're going to learn. And we're going to see also the state pivot as to what they think the cause of death was for their theory, because, and that, like, we had that poll going too. Like, what was y'all's understanding? Did you think it was the duct tape? Did you think it was the chloroform? Did you think it was drowning? Did you think it was something else? Some people had thought that it had to do with Xanax. So we've seen the state offer all of those up in a way, right? Or hint at it with the exception of the drowning, which is the defense, theory. And I guess with the Xanax, most of that hasn't come in at trial. It was mostly, well, actually, I take that back. It does come in with the medical examiner, but I don't want to spoil anything. It's pretty crazy. So anyway, so y'all definitely check that out. I have a schedule for tomorrow night. There's a possibility I might move it to tonight, but more than likely it'll still be tomorrow. But yeah, thanks so much for being here, guys. Y'all are awesome. Squirrel Crew's the best. Squirrel Crew for life. And hopefully see you guys soon. Love y'all.